was talking to myself. I was not a part of the stream. You guys heard nothing for 4 minutes. I was talking to myself. Ha! Okay, I was sharing it out and I was literally talking to myself. So y'all heard nothing because I was not a part of the stream. Hello, everyone. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365, home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of classes, and Silhouettes Anonymous, where I teach you how to use Silhouette Studio, which is the program that controls the cameo machines, portrait machines, Alpha, Mint, but don't sleep on it. No matter what system you use, no matter if you are someone that has a Glowforge, an X tool, any other type of laser cutter, if you have a Roland, if you're a Cricut user, it is a design software. It can be used separate of the machines. The same way Illustrator does not have a specific machine attached to it. Photoshop does not have an actual machine attached to it. Corel Draw, like any of those. Silhouette Studio can be used on its own to standalone software. So it's not, you can save in there, be able to take that out, use it in other places, unlike, Cricut Design Space and things of that nature. So don't sleep on it. I've been teaching it for years. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not affiliated with Silhouette America in any way, shape, or form, but I am here for the people. And when I realized what it can do and the fact that you can do these things for free 99, I'm all about spreading the knowledge, spreading the information, getting you guys started in a software that's going to allow you to customize and make things, especially if you're in the craft business and you like to make handmade items, whether you are a full-on designer or if you're just going to take images and be able to modify them, be able to size them properly. Silhouette Studio is a great platform to learn the inner workings and like the ins and outs of graphic designing, where it's not so intimidating with all of these different tools and buttons and options and things like that. So definitely check it out. You can go to silhouetteamerica.com to download the free base version. And then if you decide that you want any of the upgrades, then you can go from there. If you don't know the upgrades and you would like to know more about them, go ahead and put upgrades in the comment section and we can go over the upgrades of Silhouette Studio and what they have to offer. And is it worth doing any of the upgrades? Okay. So, hey, period. Hello. I thought it was just me. Yeah, my bad. Incredible afternoon. I kept going in and out. I thought it was my internet. Incredible afternoon, Cora. All right, so my 7820 has lasted longer than the new 7310, and I've had to replace it twice. Oh, wow. Have you considered being an affiliate of Silhouette Studio? I've tried. I guess I'm too honest. I've reached out several times, but I'm not even worried about it. I mean, being an affiliate for them really wouldn't help me because you don't get anything for recommending something that is free. The software is free. Now, when it comes to the upgrades, I have a link for Swing Design. So if you purchase the upgrades through my link, I do get a small commission for that. I do wish I was able to sell the upgrades myself since I'm always kind of pushing people towards it, but I've tried before. And that's how I know that this is truly a labor of love for me. And I do this because I enjoy teaching it and I want to help others. I want to see others win. And because it's free, like this is the best place to start. Before you invest in Photoshop or all these things you have to pay monthly for, or even, pay a large, like hundreds of dollars annually, this is a great place to start. And so I just share this with all of my crafters and creatives. Okay, let's see. Just researching for now, but I also looked into the Sawgrass, reading reviews on both. I want to learn the basics of designing. I'm tired of seeing the same things. My apprentices are, okay, I read that part. Okay, so this is our general Q&A, guys. Share it out. I need for you guys to, if you're watching right now, if you can hear my voice, I need to see a hello, an emoji. If you turned me on and walked away, I need you to come back to the phone, come back to the iPad, come back to your tablet and just say hello. Go to your emojis, drop an emoji. I'm telling you guys, that actually helps, because if there is no engagement, the computer, the algorithms, they basically say, oh, no one really cares about this content. I know y'all don't feel that way about the professor. Always come and drop in gems. So if you just come back to the phone real quick, drop an emoji, drop a hey, you don't even have to share it out or tag a friend. Even if you just leave a comment, guys, it means so much. It definitely helps out more than you will ever know. You want people to engage with your content on social media, especially if you are selling something. Most of my audience are those who want to turn their passion into a profit. You want to monetize your hobby and you're utilizing social media. If you don't have any engagement, people don't see your comment. So the algorithm gives back what you give. You reap what you sow. You sow into our content with something as simple as a comment. You will reap the harvest of that when you are posting yours and you're wanting people to engage and share your content as well. Like, it's a give and take. All right. All right. So, like I said, this is a general Q&A. I was already on TikTok. We have a few, hey, she's in my Miss Parker voice. Hey, Professor. Thank you guys so much for the peacocks. Woohoo! See, that's how I know where my people at. They dropping them peacocks. Yes. That's the truth. It's a great starting point. Hey, how y'all doing? Incredible afternoon. Hello. Thank you guys. Storming here. Internet is janky. Hello. Thank you for the peacocks, everybody. All right, so we're going to start over here. Yes, please double tap the screen over here. I need y'all to not just go off of others' content and you guys to be interactive and involved as well. But today, TikTok is TikToking and they have some questions over here, okay? I don't like the word crafting either. What other terms would you suggest? Ooh, great question. So you got all the questions today. So we're going to start at the top and then work our way down. Okay. So with Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, a lot of people use Canva. Like, that is on the rise now. There's another one too that's great because it kind of has pre-made like templates and setups, and you can really go in there and edit. And it's called Kettle. That's another kind of great software to use because it has styles. It's already stylized in certain ways. And you can change the text to whatever you want. And it's kind of already, just like I said, it's already stylized for you. A lot of that is a lot of like text-based things and like some shapes and stuff because you want to be able to go in and fill those colors in. So it's a lot of vector-based things over on Kettle. Canva is something where there's a lot of templates. There are backgrounds. There are elements that are PNGs, JPEGs. You have frames that you can put pictures in, vectors where you can actually go in and change the colors. So some things you can bring in, some things are there, certain elements are there. People are gravitating towards Canva now because it has so many elements right at your fingertips. You don't have to go in and search the internet for certain things. You can search within their system. Now, the only thing when it comes to Canva is like if you're trying to build a brand on something, if you want to be able to sell certain things, you have to read the fine print on that and read about their terms and conditions, the licensing, and whether or not you can trademark. A lot of people like to use it for their logos, but you can't trademark certain parts of it if you're including that in your logo and your branding for your business. You won't be able to trademark those things that you get from Canva because most of the elements in Canva are user created by someone else. Someone else already owns the intellectual property of that. So you can't just take that and then kind of repurpose it if you don't have the proper license, because certain sites, they'll tell you what, if you have commercial use or if it's just personal use. So be careful with how you utilize Canva. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where someone's going to come after you because what you're doing goes against the terms of the agreement as far as commercial licensing. So be very, very mindful of that. A lot of people push Canva because of the convenience of it, but you have to think long term. Have to think long term if you're in it for the long term. I use it a lot for social media posts. You can use it for thumbnails, but just really think about, things that you're creating in like within that software and then utilizing their elements. But it's a great place to start. There are certain modifications that you cannot do. Like you have glows, you have outlines, like the way the way you can crop things. For some stuff, you kind of have to like move this over and have a bunch of different versions of things. One of the things I don't really care about Canva is when certain things, when you bring in a duplicate version or you duplicate something, it's not quite the same size. So there are some limitations. And then you have softwares like Silhouette Studio that will allow you to bring in just about any element. If it's a JPEG, a PNG, an SVG, even PDF files. If you have Business Edition, you can bring in EPS files. If you have Design Edition Plus or Business Edition, you can bring in your embroidery files. So it has a good crossover of multiple multiple worlds. And there are certain files like your TIFF files. I think other softwares I couldn't, but Apple has this weird like extension, what is like HEIC or something like that. I've been able to open those in Silhouette Studio where I could not open them in other softwares. So there's a lot of benefits to learning Silhouette Studio. At the end of the day, it's a vector-based program. So it's really ideal for creating customized shapes and modifying them and filling them in with color, filling them in with patterns. Once you fill it in with the pattern, it has a vector outline, but the image itself is no longer vector. It's a whole thing to that. But like logos, some of the best logos are created in vector-based programs because it allows you to make it bigger, make it smaller without distorting it. Once you rasterize it and you're applying pixels, now, depending on how you saved it, you're limited in how big or how small you can make something because of how the canvas was set up. Anything that's vector and it's saved in a vector format, or while you're designing it in that vector program, make it big, make it small. You're not going to see any difference other than like if you have strokes or lines, it will change. If you make it bigger or smaller, you make it smaller, and that stroke was like 10, it's going to look like a big old blob around it. So little things like that. Photoshop is great for photoshopping. And when we say like taking something and changing the color of it, you can have one pose, but make your shirts different colors, make the pants different colors, change the color of someone's hair, change the color of their eyes, remove blemishes, remove unwanted objects. You can extend pictures. Now with the combination of AI, you can like automatically like select a section and then put a prompt in and add it in there. But then on the design side, so a lot of people that I teach want to learn it for the design. They want to be able to take their designing up a notch. So you have things like blend modes. One of the best things to you, like one of the top tools is like your blur tool, using your Gaussian blur. I mean, that's one of the most overly used, but in a good way, tools in Photoshop, as well as like your brush tool and your layer mask to blend things off. So you can make things look like really bright by using different blend modes like screen. You can take something that has a black background, use screen, and now that it's just like it magically makes it disappear, and then you just see that highlight, that flare, and things of that nature. Having brush strokes where you can create transparent pixels, the edges can feather out. It's not just a harsh line. Whenever you're designing in Silhouette Studio, you're always, or any vector-based software, unless you have the ability to put a Gaussian blur on or some type of blur, you're going to always have super sharp lines. And then, like I said, Photoshop allows you to soften those a little bit. In Silhouette Studio, if you want something to not look like a box, the most that you can do is get a vector, uh, a vector file, or either trace like something that's distressed and has, whether it's torn edges, if it's splattered, and then you're going to crop that to your picture. And so now your edges won't be so straight and just kind of stiff. Each program offers different capabilities. I interchange between several softwares. I like Silhouette Studio, especially for text. In Photoshop, you have to do things like double click and go into this area to do this, to do that. If you want to transform something, just even to change the size, you have to go in, you have to hit transform to be able to change the size. Whereas in Silhouette Studio, I click it, I resize it, I let it go, we're done. If I want to change the color of something, I click it, I go to the color, I select the color, I'm done. Photoshop, you got to click on it. You got to have that window pop up and you have to select the color. And then you have to remember to hit OK. And that color wasn't quite right. You got to go back through that step again. So yeah, it can be a lot. Photoshop offers a lot of benefits, but sometimes it is overkill and you can do things, simpler tasks in programs like Celestia. So I encourage you to learn more than one software because each one offers something different and one is not better than the other. Okay. So that was, that whole thing. That's why I push Silhouette Studio so much, because simple tasks, it's good to work in Silhouette Studio and just learn the tools. All right. So your next one, want to learn basics of designing. There's a big difference between learning a software, learning what the tools do and what their fundamental functions are, and learning designing. Two different things. If you really, 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 really want to be great at designing, you have to learn the tools first. And not in a design, like play around with them, just see what they do, open it up, click on something, click on two things, just see what they do. Designing is about proper text font selection, composition, your layout, understanding the size and the dimensions that you're designing in. If it's something that you designed it where it's a square, you can't just go and stretch it now to something that is a rectangle, either landscape or portrait. If it's something that, if it was designed as a square and there's certain things on the edge, you can't easily make it a circle because you're going to cut stuff off. That is what designing is about, is understanding the actual design and how to lay it out, how to mix text, how to combine them, how to intertwine them, how to make things stand out. That is designing, which is why we have, so some people, I will say I don't think they quite understood, and some were, I guess you can say, disappointed in the 30-day training, because I focus, like that particular training focuses on learning the tools. And I don't care if you've been doing this for forever and a day, most people have just been winging it. Once you understand the tools, it makes designing that much easier. Kind of like how we showed today. There's more than one way to do something. There are a lot of tools, a lot of functions that can be used to accomplish the same thing, but it's about the efficiency. How do you want it to look? When I'm teaching in my classes, there's a difference in how you're going to design for something that is sublimation, something that will be cut from vinyl, something that will be printed for DTF. Even when you're using vinyl, how is it going to be layered? Do you want everything to touch touch the substrate? Do you want to layer certain things? That's where the design part comes in, and it comes after learning the tools of whatever software you choose to use. Okay. So if you're interested in learning about design, our crash course in designing, because we go over things like knowing if you want something to look like it's further to the back, you have a bunch of things. You want it to look like it's further back, you make it smaller. If you want it like it's in the distance, if you want it to look like it's right in front of you, you make it bigger. We go over like recreating things, making posters, understanding layouts, understanding text to path, things like that. That's in the foundation, the crash course, the 10-day crash course. That's also in Foundations of Designing. We teach composition. We teach about utilizing text-based designs. There's a lot of companies where their t-shirts are just text, and you don't have to add all this graphics and splatters and splashes. You're limited. Sometimes you're limiting yourself if you can only design with bitmap images such as JPEGs or PNGs. So yeah, look into those. If you're really wanting to know the basics of designing, Foundations of Designing is an amazing program to look into on our website. As far as the printers with the cartridges, most people think that using an eco tank is not converting. It still is, and there's a lot of issues with that. I just did a video, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. I highly recommend that you go over to Honestly Speaking's YouTube channel. We just did a video breaking down the printers, the pros and cons of each one of them, so definitely check that video out. Sawgrasses are great. Some people don't like them. You're still going to have cartridges. So it depends on what your cartridge issue. So if your issue is not cartridges, but the chips of the 7820, 7310, because you have to keep changing them, the Sawgrass is a great option. Just make sure that you are using it, because if you don't use it and it's constantly going through its maintenance cycles without utilizing printer, you end up wasting a lot of ink. Ask me how I know. I'm experiencing that right now. But I did a video on that as well. So we have that content as far as comparing the pros and cons of the Epson versus the Sawgrass printers. Let's see. Yeah, what I like about Silhouette Studio is once you buy it, it's yours. So yeah, and you don't have to even buy it. Once you upgrade to designer or business, it's a one-time thing. So that is a great feature of Silhouette. I got you on TikTok on my phone, YouTube on my laptop, listening on my phone. Woohoo! Awesome. I downloaded a font, and after looking at it closely, you could see one letter was not the same, because people will make their own fonts. Like they will like something and they'll make certain changes, and they're not very consistent. I wonder why I didn't like that one letter, because it stood out. You taught us to look closely at, yes. Okay, so let's see what's over here real quick. How about flip books? Meaning, so do you mean like the old school flip books, or do you mean like if you have a guide and you want it to be interactive and it's like an interactive PDF? Or do you mean like the old school flip books where you're like designing and every one is a different movement? I'm old school. So when I hear flip books, I'm like, I used to go take the paper, fold it in half a bunch of different times, and then cut off the end, glue it together, and then you literally draw like different things on each page. And then you do like this. So that's what flip book means to me. Is that what you're referring to? I'm so showing my age. Let's see. Lori says, I love watching your content. It motivates me and keeps me from giving up on what I love doing. I have learned a lot from watching you. I pray God continues to bless you. Me too. I need him to continue to bless us with reaching new people, getting new people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Need, people who are going to watch ads so that we can get those coins, so that just the same way I'm helping you guys make money, you're helping us, maintain a living wage as well, to take care of our family and our two boys. So I'm right there with you. I pray that he continues to bless me with those who are interested in learning it. I try to get people like right when they're getting into this, to kind of avoid some of the bad habits that you may pick up from a lot of these groups, and just looking for people who are interested in trying our product. So that is always my prayer, is for God to put people in my path, put my video in their path so they can see how amazing our product line is and consider trying Honestly Speaking. You can choose any ink, paper, but if whoever you're getting your ink and paper from, if they're not pouring into you and you're not growing from their content, is just buying their product and they're, they're growing by leaps and bounds and you still feel kind of stuck, support those who truly support you is what I say. So consider getting our Honestly Speaking products. Okay, so I got a file and the PNG was fine, but the SVG of the file was messed up. How can I fix that? When I open up, some of the pieces were not connected, so they weren't where they were supposed to be, but it's hard to fix it because a lot of the pieces that are in the design are also in the wrong spot in the middle of the design. I can't really say how to fix it because I don't know what that image is. This is where, because I know who you are, as a student in our academy, you're able to send me that file and I can take a look at it. We'll do a quick video in our exclusive group and I'll show you how to do that, where you wouldn't necessarily, as long as you're okay with sharing that to where others can learn from it and without booking a one-on-one session. So I can't give you direct guidance on how to fix it because I don't know how bad it is. Sometimes it's just a matter of rearranging it. If you have the PNG version and seeing where things are, you can kind of utilize that to know where to put things. If it was an SVG where they either made all of their line colors the same color as the fill color, can be a little bit hard. Maybe select everything and change the line color to white or lime green. That way you can see if something is to the back, to the front. Sometimes going to be a lot of moving stuff to the back, to the front. It might be that you may have to take those top layers and reduce the transparency to see what is behind it and know where to position things at. You may have to pull everything apart and put it together. Every designer is different. Everyone doesn't take the same approach to how they put designs together. You have a lot of people who really don't know what they're doing when it comes to SVGs. They kind of figure something out. They went and posted it in a group and someone said, "Oh my God, that's so amazing." Because they have never designed something like that. They couldn't fathom, oh, I'm too new, I'm too busy, I need that in my life. And that person will rush to get those coins and it works for them. I have so many designs that I have that works for me. I don't sell them because I know that if somebody else was to open the file, they'll be like, wait, huh? Who, what, when, where, how? This ain't working. So it happens, and you just have to, that's why it's important to know not just designing, but know the tools and know like what you would need to do to make that work for you. But because you are a student in the academy, if you email that to me, I'll be able to take a look at it and see how bad or how it's set up, and then provide you some guidance on how to correct that. Hey, just saying. She says, I promise before I met you, I was a winging silhouette with trial and error. So now we're very intentional when we are designing. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm tapping in when you're live. Thank you, Carm. I love the HSINK products. I can see a difference. Hey, Dawn, how are you? Hello, Renee. How are you? Okay. Okay. So words that you can use other than craft business. It is okay to, like, if there's groups and you want to kind of learn different things from these groups, it is okay to kind of go into them. But think about what it is that you specialize in. If you're trying to do some of everything and every time you see something new come out, you're wanting to add that to your lineup and it's just you're working backwards, then you really are just a crafter. Because someone who's in businesses have signature products or services. They have core things that they are known for. Some people say it's crafting because it's like, oh, well, I'm hand making it. Sometimes you're not, all you're really using is a heat press and you're manually doing the heat press. But some of these bigger companies are doing the same thing. They're just using a more industrial heat press and they're using the same methods. Who's some people? Stalls, Transfer Express. Well, just Stalls in general, because they have vinyl. With their vinyl has been put on things for major sports teams. And when it comes to vinyl, there's a machine that's going to cut it, whether it is a Cricut, a Silhouette, if it is a GravTech, if it's a 42-inch cutter, of a 50 whatever cutter, it still requires it to be cut, and it still has to then be weeded by someone by hand. We look at a lot of commercial things and don't really think about the business side of it, right? If something has to be sewn, it has to still be sewn by a person. Like there are companies and there's like a room with a bunch of sewing machines and there's a bunch of people in there sewing for clothing lines. It's not a machine that's like you're just throwing it in there, it's just going to go and cut it out. It's not like the Jetsons. You throw it in there, it comes out. There's someone that's hand making it. A lot of things are handmade. So that's the part I think what kind of gets me, where crafters think like it's handmade, so it's a different value, but a lot of things are handmade. Not everything is produced by machinery. The only difference is major corporations that have money to back it, and they have a bunch of employees, they have machines to assist them and things of that nature. But a lot of the things are actually handmade, just not by the owner of the business, right? So we have to stop thinking that way, that it's a craft business just because it's made by your physical hands. What is it that you do? Is it that your specialty is customizing a wide variety of things? Then you're more like a specialty shop, a gift shop, a novelty shop, a print shop. You customize things. If the majority of the things that you make are apparel, you have no desire to make tumblers or mugs or pencils or wood signs. Like everything that you do is decorating some type of garment. Then it's more like, whether you are a t-shirt shop, if you are a clothing store, a retail, or if you have like a bunch of different things, you become a retail store. If you have a little bit of everything, it's almost like you're a department store. You have different departments, but it's not just crafting, because the same methods that you use, major companies use as well, and they're known as clothing lines, t-shirt brands. They are a drinkware. You have to really think about you as a consumer. So many people who get into this and they get into craft business, they get stuck on this craft thing because, let's be honest, you feel like, if it's crafting, we should be helping each other. We should be banding together to fight the big corporate folk, but you can learn a lot from that. You are a consumer. When you are going to go look for things, what are those terms and what are those things that you're looking for when you're doing searches? That's the same thing that you're going to have to do, because other consumers are searching those same terms. So if you're keep using things like crafting or sublimation or resin, customers don't know about that. Regular consumers don't know that terminology. We have to learn to keep creative terminology in creative spaces, in those classes, in those groups, and you have to learn to use terminology. Hello, I am living proof of that, right? Learn from my mistakes, because I am one where I don't like the terms crafting. I don't like for everything to be called an SVG, because I know that that's not what it is. Every image becomes a PNG, like we just forget about JPEG, right? I was teaching that way. I was titling my videos, my classes. I'm talking about graphic designing because that's what it is, right? And I'm missing a whole slew of people who, when they're looking for video content, they're looking for a class, they're looking for a coach, they're looking for whatever, they're looking for these words such as crafting, or they're looking for SVG, they're looking for specific things like obituaries, or looking for things for rolling. And my mind, I'm like, well, it's all the same, right? Like, I know if I design in Silhouette Studio, I can use this for this. Like, I can use it for multiple things. But my core audience, my customer base, you guys were searching for certain terms. And so it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'd never heard of you. Like, your content is amazing. Where have you been all my life? I've been here, but I was using the wrong terms. As much as I despise saying craft business, I have to use that because that's what people are searching for. So I'll give you what you want when you're searching for it. And then once you're over here, I'm like, okay, this is what we're really about. Okay. So you have to do the same thing in your business. If it is about t-shirt, if it's about people, most times they're looking to buy something, they're looking for retail. If you're looking to sell business to business, a lot of times they're looking for wholesale. So you have to use the proper terminology depending on what it is that you're actually selling. Make sense? Can you still buy one lesson and get half price? No, so that's going to be all month during HS Inc. month, because this is our 3-year anniversary of when we launched, honestly speaking. So yes, you can still buy one lesson and get it half price off of another one. One training and get half price off. Incredible. Well, it's still morning for you, but it's afternoon for us. Guys, this is Q&A. TikTok has been on it. They had some really great questions that allowed me to give a lot of great insight and information. Ooh, excuse me. What about Facebook and YouTube? What is it that you guys need to help you grow and thrive in whatever you're doing? Whether you are simply a craftiness, like I just want to be great at my hobby. If you're somebody that wants to monetize it, how can I help you today? We have about 15 minutes or so. Like I told you, I got to go get my baby boy from his first. I'm super excited to hear about his first day. Oh, dear. You know how I didn't label because I was like running around like a chicken with the head cut off and I didn't quite label stuff? They wrote somebody else's name on his lunchbox. She told me. How to get an LLC. So that is basically meaning that you want to structure your business. You're going to go to your Secretary of State. Every state is different. It's not the same in every state as far as cost. It's generally the same process for your LLC. It's a really easy process. They're basically, you do your articles of, you do your articles, and it's basically just saying like roles and responsibilities. So go to your Secretary of State and it will outline everything for you. What's going to be the pros and cons of it. We are an LLC. In learning more information about the different structures, we do want, like, because of where we plan to go with our business, we want to change to more of a corporation. Some people will say they don't recommend an LLC because it's like it's passed through, it still goes through your taxes, and there's a lot to it. Things that I wish I'd known and people talked about it more openly. I'm still learning a lot of things like the inner workings of it and the pros and cons and benefits, but look at all structures as far as an LLC. And then when it comes to a corporation, there is no, you don't have to make a certain amount. There are, you have to have it kind of laid out and know the roles and positions. Like it can be intimidating for an LLC, where it's like you just kind of have to name the members. Having bylaws and things like that when it comes to a corporation can be kind of intimidating. But if you think about your long-term goals, sometimes it is better to have it set up that way and being fully separated from it. Like your name is not on it. You're not a pass-through entity. It's a lot. Like I am learning so much because so many people just push LLC. And I'm not going to say that it doesn't serve a purpose. It's not beneficial. But when you really understand, and if you can forward think and think that I don't want to be this business where it's just me. and everything is just coming to me. I'm thinking about all the profits coming to me. When you think about how you want to grow, and it's not just about financing and getting funding, because you can get plenty of funding as an LLC as well. But when you think about how you want to structure when it comes to staffing, when it comes to growth and getting assets in the business name, it becomes a lot. Like, your shareholders, there's a lot of benefits to it. I let the details, and that it took more details. It wasn't just kind of I want to do this. Here's the business name. Here who's the owner or member. And I didn't want to go through, like, I wanted to just hurry up and get into it and not have to go through setting your bylaws and setting certain things. I end up doing an LLC and kind of regret it now. So, yeah. So what entity protects your brand? A trademark is what's going to protect, like, your name, your colors, and things like that, like your logo. So you getting a trademark will protect that. You can go and put your trademark and it can be in your name versus your business name. An LLC can make it to where if you happen to get sued, as long as you're not commingling things and there is a clear separation and you're not opening yourself up to where someone can go and say, yeah, there was no real separation, it can protect your personal assets. So there is a level of protection in having an LLC. Now, money wise, you're gonna, especially if you're a single member, that still goes through your regular taxes. So if you have another job and you're not paying, when you're on your job, they're taking the taxes out and that's how you get your refund. Well, now when you have your own business and you've got all this money and you really didn't pay taxes on it and you're waiting till the end of the year, because there's a difference between your sales tax that you will pay the state, and then there is like your federal taxes and your self-employment taxes, which is the same thing as like your FICA, your Social Security and things like that. So when you're waiting to the end, they're going to take that money off the top. So man, the things that I am really, really now seeing, it's like, yeah, was this the right decision? But as far as protecting yourself and protecting your personal assets, once you create that separation, whether it's an LLC or a corporation, and then of course, if you're doing like nonprofit and trust and things like that, like, long as there's a separation and you're not a sole proprietor, you're able to protect your personal assets. But as far as protecting your brand, that's not really anything to do with, completely to do with what structure you decide to set your business up as. Is there a site to go to use my LLC for a loan or a grant? There's a lot of it. There's a lot of private investors. You can go to banks. Some people have lists of investors. You're going to end up paying for it. That just have to do your research on that. You can get them through your bank. Having an LLC does not, just because, okay, here's the other thing. Here's a misconception, right? That just simply having an LLC means that, hey, I'm going to get money. When it comes to grants, with the grants, they want to know where you're going to use this money at. They want to see your business plan. So you can't just have an LLC and not have a plan. Doesn't matter how you set your business up and how you structure it. You got to have a plan. You have to know your projections. You have to know about your business and not just say, well, I want a loan because I want to get a new machine. I want to get a Glowforge. Well, I want to get a Thunder. I want to get this big laser machine. I want to get a huge white toner. I want to get a DTF. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I want to set up my LLC so I can get funding and I can get these big machines and I can get all this inventory that's going to make my business like blow up. But you didn't really have a plan. And you're going to get this money. That money's going to slip through your fingers. It's going to be gone. And you're still going to be stuck at square one. Do you even have an audience? Is there a need? Are you so busy, so overwhelmed? Do you have a plan on how you're going to get that clientele in to justify the cost of these machines? Or is it just going to sit there? So there's a lot more to it than just having your LLC to get a loan or a grant or private funding. Just want to say thank you for that gut punch. I truly needed it. Let's see. All right, over here. Let's see. Where am I? Do I teach digitizing? I would love to learn that as well. I am not an embroiderer. I like embroidery. I can do like the baseline and creating vector files that you can then have digitized. I know people that do embroidery and they don't want to do digitizing. Like they want to focus on the embroidery. It can be a bit of an undertaking and making sure that you have the right amount of like stitch count, because there are some softwares that's going to, once you have your vector file and you set it up like in a program like Silhouette, you save it in a certain format, you take it over there so it can create the stitch lines. When it comes to embroidery, it's about your stitch count. Some stitch counts, like it'll be very dense. Some are going to be very thin. So there's a lot to digitize. I would recommend that you kind of find someone that specializes in that. And that's one of their core things, is going over digitizing. Well, a place to start at is the companies that actually sell the digitizing software, and look at the learning modules that they have, whether they have a YouTube channel and you can kind of watch videos for like in Brilliance and different things like that. And then finding whichever program that you want to use, finding someone who specializes in it. And they've given you some type of free value so that you can see how they teach, if it's going to work with your learning style, and then go from there. Hello, I've been doing my lessons this morning. Woohoo! Yes, Ruby. Is the Essentials course live or recorded? We don't have any live classes going on now. Every last class that I do is always conducted live in front of a live Zoom audience, and you get that recording. Nothing that I do is something where it's like pre-recorded, where it's just me. So you're learning from questions. I pace it out to where even if you're watching the playback of it, it's going to feel like you're still in that live class. It's just that if you have a question in that moment, I can't answer it, but we have avenues for you to go and post those questions and get, and get an answer. But all of our classes, every last one, is always done in front of a live Zoom audience, and you get that raw, uncut, unedited playback so that you can watch it back and feel like you were in the session. I have lots of troubles with how colors print on the something differently than what is on the computer screen. Do you have a very basic video about that? Issue with that is I can give a basic one, but that's probably not going to give you, it's not going to really be of help. You have to understand in general how these things work. So I have done videos and done very basic videos, and I talk about it all the time. When it comes to how you see it on your screen and then how it outputs out, there's a couple different things that's going to affect that. One, your monitor. How well is is it a cheap monitor? Is it a high-end monitor? Is it one that has a lot of backlight to it to where things look brighter? I made a post. I took a picture. I have my laptop. Actually, I think I even have a picture where I have both laptops and my screens, and on each one of them, the display is different. I've made the reference. If you go into Best Buy, if you go into Walmart, Target, places where there are TVs and they're showing the same thing, look at how different the color looks on each one of those. So part of it is going to be your monitor and how it outputs and how it looks, on there. Then it's the printer that you are using. When it comes to any converted printer where the ink is not made by that company and is made for that printer, you're going to see some difference in color. The media that you print on, If I print on really, really great matte paper versus just a regular cardstock, it looks different. The colors take different. The colors take different on coated paper versus non-coated paper, glossy paper versus matte paper. When it comes to sublimation, the substrate that you are putting it on makes a big difference. The printer that you are using. We do the, I do this example all the time. If you have an EcoTank printer and it's using, they use this ink and then you're using sublimation ink, totally different. Your colors are not going to be the same. You're going to get a lot of red tones. A lot of the converted printers give you red tones. That's where if you're filling in colors, it's important to use color charts. If it's something that was already created, then you have to play around with the settings. There is no such thing as a universal setting. So there is no one basic video. There's no one basic answer. You have to get an understanding of all of the components that's going to affect that final output and get an understanding of that. Okay. I love when you talk about going viral and if you're ready or not. Can you touch on that? Okay. And how to prepare for just in case you do. All right. Let me come. Oh, see, I almost muted you. I went up and it gave me that little weird screen. Let's see. Do I have a bookkeeping and inventory system that I really like? So my inventory system goes through our website. So we do an account and then having like what's that thing? Excel spreadsheet. We were doing that at one point, but a lot of our inventory now, I will say, got pretty lazy and keeping a lot of it only through our website. So you have an inventory control and you have inventory. You can see your inventory, you put your numbers in, and we can at any point go in there. We know what we have, what we don't have. So because I have a website that kind of monitors that for me, I don't have to put it in multiple places. But when we do like our bid counts, we do have a Excel spreadsheet that has all of the numbers and stuff like that, so that we know like when to order, when to see our numbers and stuff like that, and to help us at the end of the year for tax purposes, because once we plug that in, it gives us the dollar amount for the value of that inventory. So we're using Excel spreadsheets, but we also use our website because you can put in numbers and it's going to subtract from it. If someone cancels an order, it adds it back to the inventory. So we'll use that. Bookkeeping, it just really depends on how many transactions you do per month. How much time do you have? Do you have the time to reconcile your books? You can do a lot through just spreadsheets and being able to create those and reconcile that way. Like my husband uses a very detailed spreadsheet for our bookkeeping or our home finances and using Excel, and it'll calculate certain things and what the debt was and you're paying it off, how much is left. Like it's things like that, keeping up with what day they're due, all those types of things. So you can utilize those. It takes a little bit to set up. If you're not familiar with doing formulas, you may have to like purchase something to be able to kind of keep track of that. Then you have outside, you can get a CPA, or you can use QuickBooks, you can use Quicken. There are a lot of different, we use QuickBooks for our business because of the number of transactions and stuff like that. So we choose to use QuickBooks, and we do have a bookkeeper that will reconcile everything for us through that. And it's an additional service. So if you're not quite there and you have to do everything yourself, you choose which one is going to work best for you. Some of them are automated. You have now where you can connect QuickBooks to your dedicated. This is where that whole commingling of funds, if you're going to use something like QuickBooks and you want it to keep track of all of your charges and things like that for the business, you can't be using your personal account. You can't connect that. You're going to have a dedicated account that is for business. So that way that's connected. It can go and look at purchases and categorize them. when it comes to your sales. If you don't have something like Shopify where it can connect to it and it can see those sales, it can match up the dates and the amounts and reconcile it for you that way, you're going to have to go in and manually do it. So do you want something that's automated? Normally it's going to come at a cost. If you're trying to save on money, you're going to end up doing it manually, and it may take a while to get that system set up, how it's going to work best for you. How do small businesses get grants? I hear all about grants, but don't fully know how to get them. Grant writers are great at their jobs. It can be somewhat, if you've never like dealt with the grants, because there are certain requirements, they're looking for certain things. There's a certain way like you'll word things and making sure you have certain information in there, having a plan, letting them know like some of them required to like know what exactly you're going to use it for. There are some grants that are not just these general grants and like, hey, this is just free money and here you go. Some of them you have like they're for specific things. Like you probably would not be able to use it to use for payroll. Like it's meant to help you with your inventory. Grants are, I won't say like man-made, but like they're either like from a certain company or organization, and that organization may have a certain mission that they're trying to help people with. Like, you're a startup business and this is meant to help you with inventory. Some of them are meant to help you acquire better equipment. So you have to look into exactly what that grant is for. Some grants, you have to buy the stuff first, and then there is a reimbursement. Some of them, they will give you the money to then you'll be able to purchase it. But it's not okay, I'm going to apply for it and then I'll get it right then and there. I know people, they will apply for a grant in January. They're not going to see that money until September. So if it's something that you need right away, you can't really rely on that money. You have to have a plan. So you have to look into all of that. There are some grants where people know they're coming up. It's always the same one. I have a friend where they do, I think it's like tutoring or like after school care, and they rely heavily on grants. My mom's old job, they relied heavily on grants, but it's like grants that come out every single year and they have to reapply for it. So they have someone that is a dedicated grant writer. They know when the deadlines are for these, and they are filling them out. That way they're completed, and then the money is available months later when they need it. There's a lot to grants. Grants is not easy money. People throw it around and make it seem like it's just easy money. It's a quick process. You still have to have a plan, just like with any investor. They're going to want to know that, do you even know what you're going to do with our money? Why are we giving you this money? So you have to know that as well. You have to create a plan for your business and for that money. Well, if you need 13-inch rolls, they are on pre-order right now. Go over to the website. It's under the main banner. We don't have them in stock, but it's pre-order. And with the pre-order, you are getting a discount. Once the pre-order is over with, you're going to pay regular price, but then still have to wait like 4 to 6 weeks to get them. But right now they are on pre-order. Take advantage of the pre-order that's on the site. If you want 13-inch, 24-inch, or 8.5-inch wide summation paper. You are so knowledgeable. How long did it take you to understand or get all this info? Years. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have, well over 20 years. I have different levels of experience. The marketing side and understanding business started when I had an internship at a local radio station here. That's where I got bit by the bug of business and just understanding business and marketing and things like that, seeing how a radio station works, seeing like all these different components that allow you to hear music over the radio. So that started for me then. When I was 16 years old is where I got into graphic designing. I didn't have the pressures of a business. So I was able to just learn these things. And now I'm able to take my actual knowledge, the things that I am an expert in, and make money for me. There's a lot of people that just focus on that. I just want to make money, and they want to kind of jump into something and they don't realize how much goes into this. So from learning graphic designing in high school to at 16 to working at a radio station when I was 17, 18 years old, to going into the military, and that's a whole business in of itself, and just kind of seeing how how that works. I was one that asks a lot. I ask a lot of questions no matter where I'm at. I ask a lot of questions. When I got out of the military, working for sports entertainment, so seeing the inner workings and understanding markups. So a case of water can cost you $4, but then if you go to a arena, you're paying like $4 for water. So I never understood why we go to a movie theater and we pay $5 for the same candy that's at the Dollar Tree, which is why we're bringing them in. But there's so much to business. So once I was in that environment and seeing all the people that had to be paid, like we think about business and we're just thinking about ourselves, right? So we want to go, we want to make the product, and we want to retain all of the profits. But in business, and a business that's going to be successful, there's going to be a lot of moving parts, like, because you can't be everywhere at every moment of the day. So if you have something that's supposed to be 24 hours, you're going to have staff for the morning, the afternoon, the evening. You're going to have managers and supervisors and people who have different roles. So I quickly understood, like once I worked at American Airlines Arena, I've also worked at Dolphin Stadium. And even with those, like, even though it's food and beverage, those worlds could not, like, they are totally different in how they're run, because of the size of the venue. I mean, it's just a lot of different components between working at an arena for basketball and concerts, and then working at a stadium where there's two different sports there. There's still shows and concerts and stuff like that. It's just different. It's way different. I learned about contract, like really learned about contracts through my time working at the arena. I've been an operations manager. That's where I got to really understand HR and human resources. I've worked Brinks Home Security. I used to crawl through attics and install security systems. So knowing power tools, how they work, it ends up helping for me to teach people how to use tools to cut wood or cut foam board, and how to cut stuff. Like there's a certain technique to drill a hole through a door frame to get the connector for your door. Like I've had over 20 years of experience. So I'm on here and I'm giving all this information to you guys, but this was not acquired. I did not become proficient in designing overnight. I practiced a lot, even when I did not have orders. So that's, how I, take a long time to understand all this information and be able to give it to those who need it. You have explained this LLC thing very well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's in our business classes. I kind of somewhat touched on it, but the second wave of it, we're really going to go deep into it and break down each one of them. Right? You have to know these things and have a plan, audience, and so on. Thank you so much for that information. That embroidery software can be expensive. And goodbye. Alrighty, let's see. Hi, Professor. What's your Cash App? I appreciate you helping me getting lines out of my summation prints earlier this week. You are the truth. I mean, the professor. So everything is business. So it's $ $HSINK365, which is in the description of this video. So if you scroll down, it gives you our Cash App and our PayPal. But Cash App is $HSINK365. Is there a way to recycle a sub tumbler that got messed up? There sure is. I did a video on that. So you can burn it off and you have to put a design that is darker on it, or you can order vinyl wraps. There's a lot of people on TikTok that are selling them. We don't necessarily just sell random wraps because look, I got too much to lose. I'm not telling none of this trademark stuff just because TikTok is on and popping. Look, I'm sorry. I like having a company. I don't want folks coming after my coins. I don't want to be banned and can't sell on different platforms. So I don't go in and kind of sell all of these wraps with all of these licensed characters on them. But there's a lot of people on TikTok. So you can go over there and they will sell you a vinyl wrap and you can wrap it around it and basically cover it up. Or you can burn it off like we did in the video for this and put a darker design. This is a cover up. All right, let's see over here. Okay, so coming back over this side, going viral and how to prepare. It really depends on what you're going viral for, right? If I went viral right now, let's say for our amazing, incredible sublimation ink and paper, right? We have a certain inventory here. I would be prepared to ship that out. Like that's something that's ready to ship. You don't have to hand make it, right? So I will be ready to, then it's just a matter of having, if it's like processing orders, it's having the people in place who can come in and help us. So when we first dropped, we did a pre-sale and we have that system. So we kind of will be prepared if we go viral, like viral and like a bunch of people are buying our ink and paper. We're kind of prepared for that because we did that when we first started. So we did all this pre-sale. And once it came in, we had a system. We had our system ready to go to make sure that everything was going out, making sure that, you know, it was the right stuff that was in there. So that part we kind of have down packed, right? Well, we don't keep a lot of like boxes on hand and things like that. So it's already having your list. If you go viral, where can you order boxes from to where you can get them in a reasonable time and be able to ship things out? If you go viral on TikTok, you only got 3 days. So you have to already have a list of someone to where when you order that, you're going to be able to buy those supplies, have them in so that you can then ship out within those 3 days. You also have to have money on hand if you go viral. If you don't already have items in stock, you have to have money. You got to have a reserve. You have to plan for that, because if you go, let's say viral on TikTok and you go, the TikTok shop and a bunch of people buying stuff, you don't get that money as soon as they go and they purchase it. Now, if I went viral and people came to my website, it's a little bit different. Oh, it's got 4 minutes to go pick up a baby. They went to the website, right? Shopify gonna pay me out the next day. PayPal, my money gonna be there right then and there. So if I needed to go and purchase something, I'm able to go and do it. But if you're doing something, you go viral through KDP, which is Amazon's Kindle, like for like digital files and stuff like that, or if you go live through TikTok Shop, you don't get that money right then and there. So you have to have the money available to buy the supplies that you need in bulk, right? So you have to do the research. Even if you don't have a need to buy in bulk, taking the time to do that research, figure out what companies are out there, what's their pricing, do they even sell in bulk? Because some people don't, right? You can have a company that you really, really love. You get your tumblers from them because you're doing like a little bit here, a little bit there. But if you go viral for tumblers, you're going to want to get tumblers at like a really great price. You're going to want to buy tumblers by the case and save when you're buying it by the case. So you have to know if your company that, it's good for onesies and twosies, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. I want to pay a whole lot in shipping. But what about when you need a bunch of them? Having a resource, having a list, writing these things down. This is my just in case I go viral list. Who am I ordering for? Knowing how long does it take them to process your order and get it shipped out. Because you can choose next day shipping, But if their process is like their processing time is 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, you still have to wait that 5 days, and they're going to ship it out. You're going to get it the next day from when they ship it. But what about their processing time? It's going to take that work beforehand, the work that's making you no money. If you don't want to do that work that's making you no money in the, before you go viral, then you're not ready to ever go viral. If it's something that is handmade, is it just you? Do you know how long it actually takes to make something? You're the best at doing it. You can do it with your eyes closed. Have you timed yourself? Have you videotaped yourself to where at least if you go viral and you need to get help, videotape yourself. You don't have to put it online, but do that so that it now becomes a training module for somebody else to come in and help you. But if it takes you 30 minutes to an hour to complete one, how long before you can get all of these orders out? There's a lot of prep. There's no one thing to prep for going viral. But I will say the most important part is having that money on standby. Yes, thank you. All right, y'all got to go. It's time to go get my baby from his first day of kindergarten. I'm so excited to hear about his day. So I got to go. I will take a look at that file as soon as we get back and let you know what I find out and what you can do about the file. I will be back because I did not go live yesterday. So after I talk to my kid, go pick the other one up. I do have some orders that I have to finish out for some teachers and some custom polos. And yeah, I will be back. I love this line of questioning that you guys had today. Thank you guys for being engaging and interactive and posting questions. So until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. May not be the conversation, but I have a question. Workforce 7210 will not print any colors, done numerous cleanings, purges, nothing works. Check out my video on push air, and it might also be your cartridges. We do sell the cartridges. You can go to our website and see if you just need a new set of cartridges, but type in honestly speaking push air and check out that video to see if that will help you. All right, until next time, peace.